Hi, Blues Matters here again, and today we have Carmen Ratti and we have Jill Devine from the Carmen Ratti Band, all the way from California. What's it like over there?
At the moment, weather's a little off. We actually have a show in a couple hours, and we're lucky we didn't get rained out because they rained out the whole shows yesterday at this place. So other than that, the sun's coming out. Things are looking good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Typical California, a little bit of
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Do you have any sort of gig rituals that you go through before a
I don't know.
gig?
Do you have it?
Yeah, I get really tense, and then once my amp lights up, I'm going, okay, I'm relaxed. So no, nothing special for me.
I do all the typical singer stuff. I have my teas and my waters, and I like to take my time to get ready and sort of just shift my mindset a little bit. I do like a little routine. Yeah.
Okay, let's take you back, both of you, one at a time. Your musical journey. Why did you want to be a musician in the first place?
That's you.
Me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Well, thanks for asking that. For me, it's been the entirety of my life. I come from a family of sort of musical people. My mom was a pop singer in the 60s and sung with a trio and did some touring. My dad was a drummer and then a DJ. And so he had all kinds of vinyl that we collected at home. And I just remember being about 5, 6 years old and just holing away in my bedroom, listening to his vinyl over and over. And I was listening to Otis Redding and Aretha Franklin and Janis Joplin. I just was absorbing all of that great music, Nina Simone. And then I spent my entire young life just seeking opportunities to sing. And that looks like, school choirs and, musical theater, all those things. And then I started my own first band in my 20s. And it's been on from there. Yeah. How about you?
How about me? Actually a little different than Jill. I, at 10, started taking drum lessons, and I was playing all sports, and I picked up the drums. I fell in love with them. My dad got me lessons, and I used to love to watch the Buddy Rich on the Tonight Show back there with, I believe, Ed Shaughnessy. They would have dual drum solos, and I would practice to the big band stuff. So I started playing the typical things back, and that was a long time ago, the Creedence Clearwater, and I was playing in gigs at 12, 13 schools and house parties. And then I put it away. I could play guitar and bass. It kind of came natural, but the drums were my love. And my uncle was a jazz guitar player, and he used to talk to me a little about it. But when I picked up the guitar, I put it down around 20, and then I got back into it around 40. Yeah, almost 30 years ago, and just fell in love with playing and recording. I actually stayed in a studio and wrote songs for 10, 12 years until I started playing live shows with other musicians. And that really was intriguing. The whole engineering and writing was really appealing to me, and that's what took me to here.
Right. And when did the Carmen Ratti Band start gigging?
I started a pro blues jam in the club that I still currently run, and the opportunity was great. It was a fantastic room, a big stage, a great sound system, and I fielded some really good players and got asked to perform at the local Fog Festival in Pacifica. So I took the house band there, and that was the first show I did as Carmen Ratti Band. And then I knew I wanted a vocalist in the band. I wanted to write. I didn't want to try to redevelop an instrument that I hadn't really used. And I ran into Jill at my jam, and then just hounded her for many months. And we became the Carmen Ratti Band featuring Jill Deneen on the website. Through 2019, we played a lot of shows, and things kind of, the trajectory went uphill from there. And then we got into 2020, we're about to headline the biggest festival on the coast of outside of San Francisco. And one of the other great blues clubs. And then of course COVID hit. And so we slowed down a little, but we stayed at it. We wrote more material. In fact, we released an album right after that, a short one, an EP. And again, the trajectory has been exciting. We've been climbing the way we thought we could if we had the right material and the right players around us. So it's been fantastic.
And how did you feel joining the band, Jill?
I was excited to join. I've run my own band. I've been a part of other bands, and I knew that I was in a place where I wanted to be supported to really write original music, which I've done since I was 14 and for every band I've been in. But this partnership gave me an opportunity to really lay into that and really embrace performing live music. And I would say what's really cool about this album and the process that we've gone through for it is that we've given each other a lot of sort of permission to be as authentic and as honest as we can in the writing process, and to just fight through sort of any challenges we felt in writing to get to the other side. It's been really cool. I think we went through a process of writing, and then we felt like a calling to get right in the studio and get it down as soon as we could. And we assembled, gosh, just the best musicians in the Bay Area. I feel very proud of this product and what we've done to create it.
It takes us nicely into talking about the album. Come to Me, recorded it at Greaseland again. How did you get that gig?
Well, our first album was there, and we know Kid from being out and playing, and they have a Greaseland soiree every year that we've been invited to.
Top secret.
Top secret. Yeah, we can't tell anybody now. Yeah, you have to have actually wristbands again and special codes. But so I just cornered him. I believe I cornered him there. Hey, we're ready to record. When can we do this? And it was like 3 months down the line. We had to assemble our players, make sure they were free. And we went in and did our second album. And he was just asked me a few questions, what we wanted, who was playing on the album. And he was really pleased when I told him who the drummer and the keyboard player was, as long as the bass player. So we were prepared when we walked through the door, and we knew what we wanted. We had our songs ready. He assisted in a lot of areas that I didn't expect. And yet it was exciting to have that little input, because most of these songs were kind of set in stone, and he just made a few additions, and the album's very organic and it's real.
And anyone who's worked with Kid just knows his genius. I mean, has the reputation that he has for good reason. He is the best. He's literally editing your final version of your song while you're producing it in the studio. And so his ear is impeccable, and he's got just the funniest, wryest sense of humor. He knows how to bring that out in people to get you to relax and really sort of just focus on what you are searching for in the product of your work.
Has that happened before in productions with your albums before, Jill?
With my albums before Greaseland, I produced an album in Chicago, actually. I used to sing and perform in Chicago for about 5 years, and had the opportunity to produce an album that was in a studio that many rock stars actually from Chicago had performed in. So Smashing Pumpkins and a variety of others. So I love the studio. I think what happens in a studio is really special. Being prepared is really important. A lot of folks can go in and spend time writing when they're in the studio, but that's not us. We go in.
We went and just banged it out.
We want to know that we're ready to not have to, overthink things when we get there. We just want to feel it. So that was the goal.
I think 7 or 8 out of the 10 songs, we played start to finish, and he'd make us do it again, and that'd be it. Next song, we'd go to the next song, because we had done a few rehearsals, and we were performing some of those songs anyway beforehand. And I loved that. The overproduction and needing perfection, there's nothing I really want to be around. I want it to be organic and just the emotion in the moment to come out of the players, and I really believe we hit that.
I think you definitely have, and there's so many different styles on the album, and it's all rooted in the blues, but you've got lots of stuff going on there. Talk about some of the songs. Have you got a particular songwriting process? Where did No Delusion come from? And I know you.
Do we have a
that,
songwriting process? I think they all come from different sort of beginnings, which is cool. And for me, I try to catch it when I hear it, and I hear melody and lyrics at the same time, and I try to embrace it and get it down as soon as I do. No Delusion, the groove came to me first in that song, which is pretty strong, and I enjoy it. And when we're playing it live, you really feel the audience is feeling it. So the groove came first in that song and lyrics second. How about you? You come guitar first?
Well, grooves and arrangements come to me quicker, easier, because I spent so much time writing, not as a vocalist, but more as a drummer and a guitar player. And doing the songs myself. So a lot of times I'll bring songs to her, and the songs that are the best for me is when she'll take it and there might be a counter melody within the song. And then I say, well, you write over this, you take your lyrics that, you're connected to. And I think we have 2 songs on the album like that are just probably my favorites. And that's been my writing process. A lot of times when I write my lyrics, that's not something Jill might connect to. So I move it, I keep it in my archive and might use it later, might not. But she's brilliant at her lyrics and melody. When she brought those songs to me, they were like, well, I'm going to follow these and maybe just let the band embellish it a little more. And we have these songs that you're hearing, and No Delusion being one of them.
What about Blessing in the Blues?
So this is a song.
From?
This is a song we competed at IBC, the International Blues Challenge in Memphis, a couple of years ago. And we wrote that song specifically for that trip. We wanted something in the gospel family, sort of a blues gospel. And, lyrically for me, he wrote the arrangement, and that's one of those songs he sort of said, here you go. This is an arrangement in the blues gospel tradition. Have fun. And ultimately, that song touches our audiences quite a bit because it's about overcoming divides. And we're in a place in the world right now where everyone needs to connect to that notion of how can we begin to overcome our divides. So it's had a life of its own, that song.
And talk about Get in Line. That's a particularly, I like the lyrics in that one. Really good.
Get in line. So I wrote that back in Charlotte, North Carolina. My writing partner at the time, David Fulford, great songwriter. That's a keys sort of driven song. It's got that 60s kind of feel, real jumping. And I wanted something sassy. I wanted something fun. I wanted to feel light in that song. And I do. I feel light when I sing that song. It's become one of those songs on the album, like we'll add this, but now we're so glad the flavor is there. And each song is like that. We're like, we do have a good variety of sort of genre bending blues based songs, and they all speak about us. I mean, they're all a part of us. So it's kind of cool that we're able to represent ourselves that way.
And the title song, where did that come from? The title song.
Well, I put that together as an instrumental, and I sent it to our keyboard player, Tony Lafrano, and he responded, wow, I really like this. And if you know Tony, that's a big statement, because I sent him one song that I never heard from him.
Right.
That was evidence. Okay, all right, no big deal. And I sent it to Jill, and she goes, oh my God, I love what you did. The melody's beautiful. And I said, well, I really rather have lyrics on this. I don't need another instrumental. Because I write a lot of instrumentals, hoping either it's going to stay an instrumental or move it into something with a message. And I asked her or she asked me, and I said, absolutely, write over it. And she did, and she came up with that. And we changed a little of the arrangements that I had on the instrumental. And that song was magic in the studio. That's a one-take song.
Right.
Other than, and man, this is where I love Kid shorten it. You take my 2 intros out. And he did, and that was easy. I could have done that. But what he did on the end of the shorter version was like stunning. My melody comes up and there's the Hammond keyboard on top of it, but Jill's message, she can talk to you about that.
So
that was electric when we got done with that.
Yeah, and I was so pleased at all the heart and soul that went into that from each musician. These guys didn't know this at the time when we recorded it, but I wrote, the lyrics came to me after the death of my mom. I was in a lot of grief, and just, it's one of those things where you're seeking some spiritual comfort, and I hope that comes through. I hope it provides some, connection for folks that way. One of the things that was cool about that writing process was it was about stripping things away. It was about laying bare the most kernel truth of those lyrics and not crowding them. Yeah, I'm really happy with how simplistic yet powerful that song has come out.
Your vocals are very powerful in that song. And you can't come up on stage and sing that without being through it.
We haven't yet, Colin, and I don't know if we will, honestly.
May 13th, our official show of the release of the album is May 13th. So we have yet to decide, but we will rehearse it because we haven't played it since April.
We haven't
of last
played
year.
It since we recorded it. I don't know if we will,
Right.
but we're talking about it.
I've played it with my bass player a couple times because it's simple, but yet it has to be. We still feel it. just he and I playing together. Played it with a piano player the other day, last week, and it's still there. And we'll see.
Mm.
It's not a danceable.
Oh, no.
Sit
no.
back and listen and enjoy and feel it and we have our little spring tour set up, and there's a few of after May, those showcases would fit that song well. And we'll see.
Are
what
there any of
happens.
the songs that you have road tested on the album?
There are a few. We've been playing I Can See pretty regularly.
Right.
It's a nice grooving song, and folks enjoy that live. And then the other one on there we've been playing for a while is called Coming Down, and that's a real blues rock number. I mean, you feel the drive in that song. And that
Riley
song,
too.
and
The
Riley.
instrumental Riley. I usually
Yeah.
start most of the shows with that right out of the gates just to get our hands warmed up.
Yeah.
Although we like it and it's always well received.
Yeah.
Kind of shockingly, like where'd that come from?
Love that with the organ as well.
Oh gosh. The
When
organ
the
is
organ
just
comes into that.
I can't get enough organ. More organ, more organ.
Well, Kid has a wonderful. Tony was. I got to tell you, he was brilliant in the studio because he added parts that I didn't know they were coming. To be honest, because it's not like he has piano and organ and he's playing them at the same time in our shows.
No.
Oh, the way he layered a few things, and if you talk about overproduction, which isn't, that's the only additives that we would do. There wasn't second guitar parts. Other than Come to Me, we had vocals. We had the pleasure of having Kid's wife, Lisa.
Background
do the
vocal.
backgrounds.
It's so ethereal and beautiful what
Yeah.
she's doing in that song. And she knew I had talked with her about the meaning of the song, and her gift is just so beautiful on that song. I also want to make sure we give Randy Hayes big props. He is our drummer, and he set the tone for this entire album. I mean, just consistency, power, dynamics. He is one of the best drummers in the Bay Area. I feel lucky that we play with him. I feel lucky that we play with Tony LaFrano. I feel lucky that we play with Steve Hazelwood. These are great, great musicians.
They've played in Europe collectively over the years, probably 13 to 15 years of touring for Tony and Randy. Steve used to go over in the 90s with some really big acts in the Bay Area. Steve was also a career man, so he'd take 6 weeks off, 8 weeks off a year and tour. So we're the backing band we have. I'm excited to play with them every time I show up because they're just, I don't have to worry about anything. They've got us covered.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you know that you're safe to express and create in the moment. Yeah.
Oh, and your drummer used to play for Coco Montoya.
Yes, he
Yes.
did. I got to hear those stories this weekend. Yeah, for a long time.
He's enjoying these songs. He talks to me about it. He says there's a freshness to it for him. It's allowing him to sort of paint differently than he normally does. And so there's excitement from the whole crew. Yeah.
They add a little here and there. And every time Randy speaks up, I really listen because he doesn't say a lot. He comes in prepared. He has his notes. And then when he wants to add a part,
He means it.
Can we get this beat up here on the up? It's like, oh, absolutely. I champion that to get their assistance with what we're doing.
Is there a theme going through the album, do you think? What would you say was what's the
really
message?
And buffet.
A high-end buffet.
There's just a lot of everything. There's Uncle Joe is my uncle who was a professional jazz player in New York.
Right.
It has a jazz feel. It's not like I pursued a jazz song, but there's so much different flavor on this album. I personally like that. I know that's subjective, but I like hearing a lot of different type of variety. I saw Marcus King in San Francisco and I was blown away on a country song, a jazz song, a fusion. Here's here's rock blues. And you got to get a palette of flavor. And for me, I love that. I think she goes after that with her writing too. And I think it's an interesting approach. And yet the blues we're tapping into our ancestors in a lot of ways and bringing it out and forging it differently.
Well, not our ancestors, but the originators.
The originators, excuse me. Yeah.
For me, I feel like there's a couple themes. Like there's a theme of energy that's sort of going through the album. Even in our slower tunes, you feel that tension, that build, that energy, that dynamic piece. I think that's evident in the music that we play. I also think there's some willingness to lay bare. I think that's what feels like a separator for this album in some ways, like this willingness to just be imperfect, this willingness to just say, this is who we are. and we hope people respond to it. I feel like they are, especially when we're playing live, those songs that we're bringing out already. So we're excited to get this out there. We think it will resonate with folks. We hope it does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's your take on the blues? What brought you to the blues as a genre to sing or to play?
Go ahead. Ladies first.
Well, I've been a blues singer and songwriter since I was 14. So I remember I had a broken heart. I had a high school broken heart, Johnny Collins. It's all his fault. And I turned, my feelings were able to sort of be processed through the blues. And I think that's true for a lot of people, right? We're able to sort of process our pain in a way that on the other side of it, we feel more joy or we feel more relief through the blues. And that's been my go-to my entire career, really, has been blues-based music, blues-based songwriting. I have deep respect for the originators of the genre, how it's shaped American music, and try to pay homage where I can, but also know that we're just practicing. We're working within the genre that's been developed long before we arrived. So that's kind of my take on it.
Mine came different. When I started playing efficiently on a guitar, I was more rock. I was listening to rock players. When I was young, I was listening to more rock and roll than I did blues. But 20 years ago, when I started listening to some of the blues albums and I heard BB King on with Eric Clapton, it was a slow blues that he played a slow blues song and it captured me and it put me in an emotional state that was unbelievable. Every time I listened to it, I heard this one part, the intensity of his playing and his turnaround and the phrasing and the space just captured me. And I started listening to Robin Ford and then Albert Collins. And I started listening to blues players. And we're going back 20 years. I was late in life, but I knew it was like I felt it pulling me in. And I've been studying it and admiring it for over 20 years now.
And what does the blues mean to you, Jill, as an artist?
What does it mean to me? It's a language that helps me connect with myself and with others. I think that's what it means to me. I remember listening to Bessie Smith just hours and hours and hours and absorbing and trying to sort of position myself in the lyrics and, understand as well as I could sort of their meaning and the history, especially of women in blues and jazz, but mostly blues, and trying to really see how that reflected their own feelings and emotions. So that it is a language to me. It is its own way that we connect live and on stage. It's a way that I connect with listeners. It's a way that I connect with the world, really.
Yeah, I could double that. I love the emotion I hear. I'm a very emotional person and I get to bring it out in my music because when I hear people that play and I hear some of the old standards and I hear what they're playing and what they're singing, I feel it. I mean, I literally feel it. It's brought me to tears at times. And I've had stuff happen in my life that when I step on stage, I get to go into a place and just kind of pour it out to people. It's not mechanical. I'm not there because I'm there to resonate my feelings in our songs, some happy and some sad. And that's always grabbed me. Listening to Mr. King, like, wow. I mean, because I never felt that ever in the past. I just like the rip roaring ZZ Tops and the bands of the 60s and the 70s and the guitar player. I always resonated with guitar player, even though I played drums. But when I heard UFOs and Jimmy Page, it's like, whoa, I love that. I want to be, that's how I feel about it.
What's the best advice you've had in your career?
The best advice. I mean, it's a little cliche, but be yourself. I think, ultimately we all have heroes and we listen to the greats and we learn and absorb all of that. But the minute you start sort of peeling the influence off of yourself and the layers of like, I gotta sound like this, or I gotta be like that, or I'm trying to do this, and just really be vulnerable in who you are. There's such beauty in that. That is the ultimate goal, right? Is to keep getting to that place. And that's what drives me as a singer. What's cool about being a singer, over the years, you lay into different strengths. And so I'm finding new richness to my voice that I didn't have 10 years ago. I'm finding new ways that less can be more, that restraint can be, even more beautiful than power sometimes. So I'm really playing with a lot of that and just having a ball. Yeah.
I've had a local guitar player out of San Francisco. He owns a guitar shop in San Francisco called Real Guitars. And he always was encouraging to me. He was very, very, very good in his younger days. Still is very good. His best advice, my playing, he liked that when he heard me, he was hearing me and not me trying to copy everybody else. And he always drives that home to me when he listens. And that and my father always give me the advice that when you do something that you love, that you give it everything. And that's been my mantra in my career. And now I'm really fortunate at my age to be able to wake up and do music and pursue it with everything because I love it.
And it's obvious you do, Carmen. Like Carmen is a hardworking band leader. He's very fair. He loves his crew. He's a good band leader.
And I make good t-shirts. Yeah.
He makes great coffee mugs and t-shirts.
What advice would you say to a youngster coming into the profession? And I know you're an educator yourself, Jill. What's the best advice you could give somebody out in their journey, if you like?
There's a couple things I would say. One is keep going. Keep going. Just do it because you love it and keep going. There's no rules out there. People try to put a lot of rules on you about how you should be in life. And I really think the key is to do your own thing and to keep going and define your own future, really design your own way.
Good advice.
I tell people, or a couple players that I've talked to, is I think you need to take your instrument and really work it. Have talked to a couple drummers I know that they were fantastic. And it is the amount of time you put in your instrument to pursue it, to be great at it. The whole other side of what you do with it is just to pursue it and not give up, which I agree. But I think a person needs to, you want to be good on something and keep striving to get better and studying the people that you maybe admire or have been there and successfully done what they've done is part of the journey. And that's a reward for me. And it's, I think, important in anybody trying to develop themselves as a musician on their instrument. And that's what I
keep growing. Yeah. There's like no end.
Never.
Point, right?
I haven't figured the guitar out yet. Yeah. So there's a lot of notes there. They keep moving. I haven't figured that out.
And
there's a lot left to be said, Colin. There's a lot more to be said. We're already starting to talk about our next project and beginning the writing process for that. And so that's exciting too.
And what about the future? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, sort of thing? Do you have a plan as a group?
Yeah, there are a lot of things we would love to do. I think we'd like to get out your way, do some touring in Europe. We would like to continue writing and producing albums. I think we would like to just keep playing with people we love and people we admire, sharing the stage with people that are fun to play with. So we're looking forward to all of that. We think we're just going to be doing more and more of that as the years go by.
I truly believe that the chemistry we have right now and to work hard and strive at getting better and writing great songs, I believe that doors will continue to open and we'll go to some of our goals that are not way out there. They're right around the corner for us. And I put more emphasis on that because I know the goals will happen because they're happening now, right as we speak. I'm seeing it and I feel it. I believe it. And so the key is to wake up tomorrow and put some more of the pieces together, work on some more product or some more songs. We got a lot of mailings to do and part of the journey. It's a great journey though.
And do you still enjoy the touring then?
I have done some touring myself. We are next summer going to do a West Coast tour from LA up to Seattle. And so we're already starting to talk about how we're going to manage that, especially given that we do still have some jobs, some day jobs, but we're excited for the future. We know we're going to balance it out. We're going to prioritize the music. Have fun. We do this because we love it and we do it because it brings us great joy to do it. So touring will not be a pain for us.
No, not at all. I have toured in a different venue, which I'm not going to talk, or a different arena that I won't talk about. I went through the whole United States for 3 months at a time for a few years. I can't wait. That would be some of the icing on my cake to go out and have to travel and pack a guitar and jump on a plane,
put up with each other.
Yeah. Final laundromat. I did it with maps in the day, drawing
Oh,
lines
yeah.
from California to Texas. All right, stay on that road. We'll get there.
But to answer your question, I have been in a van and toured with a bunch of boys before, and I know what that feels like. There's a lot of camaraderie and also a lot of smells, a whole lot of things happening in a van.
We'll work that out way ahead of time.
But I miss it, and I look forward to the day.
And finally, anything to say to the Blues Matters magazine public?
We can't wait for you to hear this album and discover what we're doing. We really hope it resonates with you and that you connect with the meanings of the songs that we're playing. We hope that you'll come see us when we come out that way. Yeah, we want to say hello to you. We want to stay in touch with you, and we want to be sure that you're knowing that you're included in the message of this album.
Yeah, I'm gonna just ditto that. That's perfect.
Excellent. Fantastic. Brilliant speaking to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for speaking to Blues Matters.